Today I'm reviewing the Optoma UHZ36 4K UHD Laser HDR Home Theater Projector in black. If you want to check current pricing or availability, it's linked below. I've had this projector set up in a dedicated media room for movies, sport, and gaming over several weeks. This review reflects real use, not just how bright the stats look on paper, but how images behave on a wall or screen under everyday conditions. Let's set expectations early. This isn't a portable Pico projector or a simple TV replacement for bright living rooms. Laser projectors do best in controlled light, and that's where the UHZ36 feels most natural. If you plan to run it in broad daylight without blackout curtains, the image will look washed more than vividly punchy. For evening viewing in dedicated spaces, it's much closer to what most buyers expect from a home theater projector. In normal movie viewing, the 4K UHD resolution and HDR processing make a clear impact. Detail feels sharp across a variety of content, from dialogue close-ups to wide landscape shots. There's a noticeable improvement in perceived texture versus 1080p sources on larger screens, especially when you sit at a reasonable viewing distance. Contrast and black levels aren't perfect. Few projectors at this price hit true deep blacks like OLED TVs do, but in a dimmed room the UHZ36 handles shadow detail smoothly. Dark scenes have depth without getting murky, which helps maintain immersion in films and series. Brightness from the laser light source hits practical levels for most evening or controlled light setups. HDR highlights show pop without heavy clipping. In everyday viewing, highlights on faces and reflective objects feel natural, not blown out. It's measured rather than aggressive. A benefit of laser illumination is stability and longevity. In my use, I didn't feel pushed to crank brightness to compensate for fading bulbs as you might with lamp-based models. Startup is quick, and color balance settles consistently from session to session. On the usability side, setup is straightforward if you're comfortable with basic projector alignment. Lens adjustments, keystone correction, and focus all behave predictably. In multi-source setups with consoles, streaming devices, and media players, switching inputs is fast and uncomplicated. Fan noise remains controlled. Even under extended viewing it stays in the quieter range, avoiding distraction during quieter movie moments. That isn't universal with projectors, so this measured noise profile matters in everyday sessions. Now for limitations. If you sit in very bright rooms without blackout control, you'll feel the projector's limits. The image tends to lose contrast quickly as ambient light rises. That's not a flaw per se, it's physics, but it's something you notice compared with TVs in bright spaces. Also, while HDR performance enhances specular highlights and some dynamic range, it doesn't match the full brightness punch of high-end HDR TVs. In everyday film viewing, though, the difference rarely feels like a deal-breaker when the room is dimmed. Compared to smaller budget projectors, the UHZ36's real-world picture fidelity, color accuracy, and HDR handling land noticeably ahead. In a dedicated room, it feels more like a true home theater centerpiece rather than a compromise unit. Who this makes sense for? People with dedicated or controllable light home theater spaces, movie lovers seeking large, detailed 4K images, users who want laser longevity and stability, gamers who enjoy big screen immersion without frequent lamp swaps who it might not fit as well, buyers needing bright images in wide-open, sunny rooms, viewers prioritizing deep HDR punch over measured real-world accuracy, those who prefer a TV's simplicity and consistent contrast in daylight and everyday use. The Optoma UHZ36 feels like a thoughtful step up from basic projectors. It doesn't chase impossible brightness in bright rooms, but it delivers a clean, detailed, controlled image in settings where projection truly shines. Check current pricing below and evaluate it against your needs.